Okay, so before we start and we read the story again, I want to ask some questions from yesterday and see what all you guys remember, okay? So give me a thumbs up if you remember Revolution. And can somebody show me, and Megan, because she wasn't here, and JoJo, wherever he is, our motion for Revolution? Caitlin, what does revolution mean?
It means the change in power.
A change in power, exactly. So, revolution is a change in power, and we remember this fist. You guys remember that well. Okay, let's do vanity. Give me a thumbs up if you remember vanity. Carson, what was our motion?
Somebody doing this to it, their hair.
Yeah, looking in the mirror. Holden, what does it mean?
Russian animals. No.
Almost, try again.
Bulldogs.
When you care too much about how you
Care
look.
too much about it.
So vanity means when you care too much about how you look. So can you give me a thumbs up if you remember Stampede? Can you show me your sound for Good job. Autumn, what does Stampede mean?
It means a rush of animals.
A rush of animals. So that's the one you were thinking of, Holden. So remember those 3 words today. And when we read our story again, if you hear those words, I want you to do the motions like we did yesterday, okay? But before we do that, I have a couple questions I want to ask y'all, see what you remember. What was the main problem in our story yesterday? Riley?
Mr. Walnut took a thing and it was happy.
He captured the animals and they were unhappy. Lily?
He said that his fixing clean fish.
So he didn't care about the animals, and then Mina went to go get her rabbit back, right? So, and then he started caring about the animals, exactly. So the problem yesterday was kind of like what you guys both said. Mr. Walnut took all the animals, and Mina lost her pet rabbit, right? Or lost her pet rabbit. Mr. Walnut took the pet rabbit, right? So that was our main problem of the book. So how was this problem solved, Carson? You remember?
Mr. Walnut he was not caring about his wig anymore. He was just making a toy shop.
Yeah, he made toys at the end, right? After the animals got set free. So remember Mina lost her rabbit, and then she went looking for it with Bobo. He helped her get in the Ice Boy, and then she was able to find her rabbit and set all the animals free, right? And then, like Carson said, at the end is when he started making stuffed animals instead of capturing real animals, right? So, today when we read the book, I have some questions we're gonna ask as we go along, okay? So you guys be ready for this. The Pet Shop Revolution by Anna Juan. Mr. Walnut owned the biggest pet shop in the city, but everyone was afraid of him. He always had a terrible scowl on his face, with smoldering eyes and a deep, deep frown. Mr. Walnut's pet shop was dark and cold. He sold all kinds of animals, big, small, wild, timid, all different, but they all looked out of their small steel cages with sadness in their eyes. So I want you to look at the animals on this page. What emotion do you think they're feeling? Jojo?
Sad.
Sad? Why do you think that?
Because all their eyes are slanted like.
Down and everything? Why do you think they feel sad, Riley?
I think they're sad because Mr. Walnut doesn't treat them well.
Because they're not treated well? Carson, what do you think?
Because Mr. Walnut has them in cages and they can't do any stuff free.
Yes, so they're not free, right? So you don't think that they're probably pretty sad because they're locked up?
Well, the spider's free.
Too.
Yeah, the spider is. All right, well, let's keep reading. No one knew Mr. Walnut very well, and he kept a big secret. He wore a wig to hide his shiny bald head. Every morning he combed and combed it, shaping and fluffing so no one would be able to tell that it wasn't real. If anyone knew, he grumbled, I would die of embarrassment.
I'll just start moving people's head up.
Then every night he put his wig on the monkey, caged in his room, and combed it for hours. If a hair fell loose, he plucked one from the poor monkey's tail to replace it. Why do you think Mr. Walnut plucked the hair from the monkey? Samantha?
Because he liked the wig and he didn't want to know that nobody know that he didn't have hair, so he didn't want to make it like uneven of how he had like no strings of it.
So you think he cared more about the way he looked than about the monkey's feelings? Yeah, I agree. How do you think that makes the monkey feel? Colton?
Sad.
Sad? How would you feel if somebody plucked your hair to put it in a wig?
If you look at the monkey,
You'd be pretty
I
mad?
think he's
Caitlin, how would you feel?
I feel down.
Colton? You'd feel down? Yeah, Holden?
I would not be happy at all. I would really like.
Yeah, I think we can all,
If you see,
I think we can all tell that the monkey looks pretty sad on here too, right?
I would just
So here.
be annoyed because
Let's keep reading.
I'll just be.
So Mina lived a few doors down from the pet shop. Every day she heard the neighbors complain about the bad smell and terrible cries of the unhappy animals, but no one was brave enough to complain to the terrifying owner. The only people Mina saw enter the store were rich customers from out of town, and Bobo, a local boy who delivered ice for the penguins. Bobo always went into the shop, whistling and smiling, but he came out heartbroken, his shoulders drooping. Yes, Carson?
Can I talk about the monkey?
Yes.
If
How
I
would you
was
feel?
a monkey, I would be uncomfortable because they're pulling hair out off of my tail.
Yeah, I understand. I would feel that way too, I think. I would not be happy about it. One day, after Bobo delivered the ice, he found Mina on the bridge. "What are you doing here?" said Bobo. "I'm looking for my rabbit, Mimi. Today, when I woke up, she wasn't in her cage. I'm sure that Mr. Walnut has Mimi, and I want her back." "You're a brave girl, Mina," Bobo said. "I have an idea. Listen." So what's one way that we can describe Mina as a character?
Brave.
Brave? Yeah, that's kind of what Bobo said, right? What do you think, Riley?
Bobo. I think she is brave.
You think she's brave too? What do you think, Colton?
Smart.
Smart? Why do you think she's smart? How do you know that?
Because she's nice enough to, instead of just letting her rabbit out, she lets all the animals out.
Yeah, I like that answer. What about you, Vegan? What do you think? How can we describe Mina?
She is brave and helpful and nice.
She is helpful and nice too. You're right. The next day, Bobo delivered the ice as usual. "Mr. Walnut," he said, "I'm afraid the price has gone up." "What?" shouted Mr. Walnut. "That's outrageous." And while they argued, Mina jumped out of the ice trolley. You guys notice down here?
Yeah.
That's ice.
Why are they putting 3 and then why is Mr. Walnut putting 2 up and then Bobo is putting 3 up?
Bobo's saying the price has gone up to $3, and he's saying it used to be 2.
That's a Bobo.
Yeah, that's Bobo. That's Mr. Walnut.
Okay.
Can you see it a little bit better?
$3.
Wait, that girl.
Wait, who's
So the girl jumped out of the ice trolley.
who's the?
Oh,
wait,
that's the
ice
girl.
flower.
I didn't know Bobo
'Cause it's
was
in the back.
the orange hair. I thought Bobo was the.
Night came over the city. Mina waited until Mr. Walnut put his wig on the monkey and went to sleep. When he started to snore, Mina opened the cages and led the animals in silence to the main door. Yes, Trev?
Have we seen this before?
Yes, we did this yesterday.
Couldn't see
I
Bobo in the
didn't.
window.
This is my first time
Checking
seeing
on Missy.
Once the animals were all together, Mina opened the door and they ran in a great stampede of fur and feathers across the rumbling bridge. How do you think the animals are feeling now? Riley?
I think they feel free because they're out of their cages and they can run away.
You think they feel free? Zoe, what do you think? Happy?
Excited.
Excited? How would you feel if you finally got let out of your cage, Jojo? How would you feel if you got let out of your cage?
Very happy. I'll just go to the basketball game.
You'd be happy. Carson?
I will feel like freedom out, like prisoners.
Freedom, kind of like what you were talking about at the beginning, right? How that you were upset because you were in the cage and now that you're free, you would be happy. I agree. I think that's probably how these animals were feeling. They look a lot happier in this picture, don't they?
A lot
Than
happier.
on the
They're
last
all
one.
smiling.
Yeah.
The monkey just took the wig.
The racket woke Mr. Walnut, and he ran to the window. Ah! He screamed, reaching for his coat and his keys, but something felt funny. Before he opened the door, he reached for his head, and then he screamed even louder. Where was his wig? Without it, he could never leave the house.
What's a house?
That's a house.
Wait, why is there still one hanging? Wait,
Mina, Bobo, and the animals listened to Mr. Walnut howl with rage inside the empty shop. Mina hugged her rabbit, and Bobo jumped around the happy animals. Gradually, the neighbors came out to join them. All that day, Mr. Walnut shouted out his window, but he wouldn't leave the house without his wig. He could only watch the party going on outside.
Did Mina wear
Why? Why can't
She
you
let
just
them all
wear
go.
a hat like that feather boy got?
By sundown, Mr. Walnut was desperate and hungry. Please come back, he wailed piteously. I'm hungry. I always fed you all very well, and now you've forgotten me. Fed up with his yelling, Mina and Bobo and the animals decided to bring some food to Mr. Walnut. Bobo carried the meal on his trolley near the pet shop. Quickly, the door opened a crack, and the giraffe pushed the food inside.
Why does those pictures on top look so funny?
They got
That's the way the artist chose to draw it.
red
Days passed, and Mr. Walnut grew sadder and quieter. Sometimes he climbed to the shop's watchtower and through binoculars spied the animals enjoying the city. He longed to catch them again so that everything would go back to the way it was. Why do you think Mr. Walnut feels so sad without his wig? Trey?
Because he doesn't want to be embarrassed.
Yeah, you think he's embarrassed about his bald head?
Yes.
I agree. What do you think, Jojo?
He doesn't want anybody to know because he might get like scared, and then like everybody's gonna start bullying him, and they're gonna start being mad that he was hiding the wig,
So you think they wouldn't recognize him and then they might bully him?
and they might like think he's somebody else.
Oh, think he's someone else. What about you, Samantha?
This isn't about his way, but I think that he stayed in the house because he thought the animals would come back, and now he feels like the animals.
Oh, so okay, I see what you did there, Samantha. You noticed that now he's kind of trapped like the animals were trapped, right? Yeah, I like that.
He gets it.
How can he learn to love the way that he looks naturally without a wig? What do you think, Riley?
I think he can like
Actually,
try to find a friend or somebody that is also bald-headed, and then they can get settled in and shake their head, celebrating bald head day.
yeah, so he could have a friend that was bald too. That would make him feel better. What do you think, Bagan? How can he love the way he looks naturally?
Well, if I was bald, I was not gonna know on my face.
Yeah. Carson, what do you think?
Remember at the first part, he said if I couldn't leave the house if I didn't have that wig, and if people look at me, they might bully him. He might cry. Then he's gonna die to embarrassment.
So you think that he's too embarrassed to leave? Well, how do you think he can learn to love the way he looks without being embarrassed of how he looks?
Just don't
You just don't?
look at your hair. And
Oh.
just be yourself.
Just be yourself and not worry about it? I think those are all good ways to do it. But his vanity was stronger than his longing. So without his wig, he was still trapped inside. The pet shop became his cage. Even the phone stopped ringing. One day, he was struck with an idea. Now I know how to get my pet shop back, he cried. Immediately, he set to work, looking for old sacks, straw, ribbons, wire. Every once in a while, he would go to the window and stare as before, but this time, he made notes and sketched ideas on a pad. His activity was very hectic, and he didn't sleep. Food laid untouched outside of the pet shop door, and the shop was eerily quiet. The neighbors met with Mina, Bobo, and the animals. Is he up to something? Mina worried. Is he sick? Bobo wondered. Carefully, they crossed the bridge and got closer to the pet shop. From the window, they could see Mr. Walnut sawing and clipping and sewing and gluing, surrounded by mountains of plush toys. Toys that looked more than a little bit familiar. Yes.
So, you see the guy in the red shirt behind the animals? He's bald just like Mr. Walnut.
Or is that Mr. Walnut?
Yeah, Mr. Walnut's inside, but here, let's keep going into it.
He has blonde
Is that like a customer?
He has
maybe?
blonde hair.
Yeah, that's one of the neighbors going to go check and see
Oh,
what
okay.
Mr. Walnut's
That's
doing.
very blonde hair.
When Mr. Walnut noticed them, he smiled and threw open the door. Welcome, welcome, he said. Would you all like to help me? And so, the once dark pet shop became a big, bright toy factory. You guys notice some of the toys on here?
They
Look
look
like
like
other
the
animals.
animals.
Mhm.
Like kind of like a
So that's why he was taking notes, right?
Wait,
Because then he needed to see what they looked like to make
Is
himself.
Mr. Walnut a toy?
I'll have to wait.
Yeah, he has a toy.
The animals posed, cut, and sewed, and the cages were thrown out to make rooms for shelves and tables. And the rich clients came back to buy plush versions of the animals they once wanted to own. Mr. Walnut was so busy that he even forgot about his wig. So one way he ended up not caring about it was he got really busy, right? And he started enjoying something else
Like what Carson said.
instead of enjoying how he looked. Exactly.
He enjoyed life instead of
Yes, he enjoyed life, so his looks smoothed. But the monkey sometimes lent his tail on special occasions. So do you guys see over here the Mr. Walnut they made for him? Did you guys notice that yesterday? How do you think Mr. Walnut feels getting a little Mr. Walnut from the other animals? Trey?
He feels like
Trey?
he feels sad.
You think he feels sad? What do you think, Jojo?
I think, well, I think that he's happy and he's like in a thankful way, like he has.
He's grateful.
Yeah,
I agree. I think
Because he's
that,
putting his hand over his heart.
yeah, true. That's a good observation, Jojo. So I think he's happy because you see they're all smiling. They were trying to be really nice
Yeah,
and give
and
him
like he
something.
feels better about the way he treated. Yeah,
And now he doesn't have to. He realizes that they forgave him, right?
And
because
all
they're
of them
helping
are like
him.
a family.
They're all kind of like a family. What do you think, Carson?
He's excited. He's still has friends, and he's grateful he has friends, and his friends are nice.
He's grateful he has friends now. What do you think, Lily?
Actually, I just wanted to say something that they made it as a gift. Not just to forgive him, but also because it was Christmas. Because as you see in the windows, it's snowing and there's a Christmas tree.
Oh, that's a good
Question.
observation. I didn't even notice the Christmas
I
tree.
think
So
I think-
that's what they gave him for Christmas.
I
That was
think
really
the
nice.
red ribbon is for like. You
It's a
see
present. It's
you
like a
see the
present.
red thing on the real Mr. Walnut? Like
Mhm.
you have the red. So you know.
Yeah, they made it like him, huh? Of course, Mr. Walnut still kept everyone awake with his snoring. But that's another story.
But wait, aren't they look sad again.
No, they don't. They
Look at the parrot. He's probably tired. That's why the parrot is too.
Maybe it's because he's snoring too loud. So
Yeah,
they can't
yeah,
sleep.
maybe like my dad and my mom
Yeah, your dad's snoring.
and my 6 Oh, maybe he's just was kind of like
Maybe so.
maybe are you gonna
Reese.
You think? So, okay, so let's talk about, remember on our pre-test yesterday we talked a little bit about characters. So we said that a character is a person, an animal, or a creature in the story, right? So who are our 3 characters in the Pet Shop Revolution? Colton, can you name one?
Bobo?
Bobo, he was one, the ice boy. Mina was one, the girl that lost her rabbit. Trey?
Walnut.
Mr. Walnut, right? Those were our 3 main characters. Those are the ones that really had feelings and actions, right? So today, what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a to-do list. Has anybody heard of a to-do list before?
Yes.
Yeah, Yeah, they're kind of like planners, right?
I wrote a bucket list.
So on a to-do list, you're gonna write a list of things that your character would have to do every day. Okay, so something that Bobo has to do. He probably has to go get ice, right, to go fill up and those kind of things. So what I want you to do is to create a to-do list for either Mina, Mr. Walnut, or Bobo. And I want you to make sure you at least answer these 5 in there with complete sentences. I want you to put those on your to-do list. And you can come up with extra things to put on your to-do list as well, okay? So you can go back to your seat, and then I'll pass out some loose leaf.
I was gonna leave some of that.
I got the first what is that supposed to be? A land.
So as soon as you get your paper, you can go ahead and get a pencil and start working on a to-do list. Make sure on the top you write your name and your character, okay? It's like a planner, so you're gonna make a list of things that they have to do today. So they have to come up with like an idea of things that they have to get done, like a checklist. Because that way the character knows exactly what they need to get done. It's like Mina. So look guys, up here, the characters' names I have spelled out for you, okay? So here's Mina, Mr. Walnut, and Bobo. Here, I can highlight them. So you know. So those are your characters' names, okay? So if you need to spell, it's up here. But I want complete sentences, okay? Capital letters, period, punctuation at the end. And I need at least 5 things. Okay, where'd you put? Oh, so you chose Bobo. So what's something that Bobo has to do every day, do you think? Well, what's his job? She has to make a bubble. Why does she have to make a bubble? Well, it needs to be like an activity or a task. So like he has to go buy more supplies. He has to. It'd be like if your mom had a to-do list. It'd be like I need to do laundry today. I need to clean the house. I need to cook. So like things like that. So you come up with like tasks that you have to get done today. Or your mom might have to go to work. Or when she gets back, get the car cleaned. Okay, Logo, so do you remember our 3 characters from yesterday? Mina, Mr. Walnut, and Bobo. So I want you to pick one of those and make a 5-item list of what something they would have to do every day. So kind of like in your planner, how you write things that you have to get done for that day. You know what I'm talking about? You're gonna do the same, but make it up for a character.
It should
Okay?
be Halloween.
It's Halloween when you do it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I want you to answer the questions when you do.
Bobo.
So these are supposed to help you. So like, what's something that Mina has to do every day? What's something that Miss Uwana has to do? Or what's one of Mina's goals? Where's a place that Mina has to go? Yes, you have to use. And then you can come up with extra ones too. So like Allison's already come up with a couple extra ones. And then like, what is one thing that the character needs every day? Well, you gotta make sure you include these, okay? Nina? What's something Nina has to do every day? She has like a pet. She has a pet rabbit, right? And she has to do something with her pet rabbit. Who did you pick? Nina? She's thinking Nina. How do you think that affects what she does? You see the second part of it? How do you think there's any factors or any that affects what she has to do? Grayson, who's your character? Mina? Okay, why don't you write Mina? So then you can mark it. So Mina's your, so I think she needs to find her rabbit, maybe that's a good one. And a pet. So what do you think her control is? Yes, rabbit.
You know how to do it?
How do you think that affects what she does the next day? See a second right now. Well, it doesn't have to be, but like think about it. So like if Bobo didn't get, so let's think if we didn't do, if Bobo didn't get ice right on Thursday, how, if he didn't get ice one day, then he'd have to bring twice the amount of ice the next day, right? Does that kind of make sense? And he wouldn't get paid as much, right? So that's how he would get paid. Yeah, so that's how it was meant to, that her rabbit would be really hungry, right? So what are her goals? Where does she have to go? Oh, go to Walmart. Who does she, she talks to Bobo? And what's one thing that she needs every day? Please, rabbit, I want you to come up with a note for me to do every day. What you got, Axel? Mr. Walnut, huh? So it has to wake up early, has to say hey to the animals, get ready for Bobo, clean up the store. Who does he speak to? Who does he speak to? So like, one of the questions says, who is the caregiver to Bobo for the ice to get ready? Yeah, I like that. You wanna draw? You don't have to. Yeah, when you finish, you can draw a picture, okay, guys?
Where do we put this when we're done?
Yes, draw a picture of your character doing one of your checklist things. Put it on my desk right there. What next to do is spend some time. Got your back. Bobo. Yeah, she doesn't tell Bobo. She never told Bobo things, did she? She needs an income. Girl, she can be very true. Want to tell her? What you got first? Who did you pick? Bobo. He needs to deliver ice cream. Help with help Nina with her rabbit. That's one of his goals. Has to go to sleep. He has to go to sleep with with Ike. And he has to be friends with Mr. Walnut. I love that kind of thing. You have yes, friends with it can be an evening, but it has to happen.
What was the place called again?
Oh, that's his role. The pet shop. And at the end, I guess you could say it was called the toy shop, right? Go to the ice place. Holden, what is that one? What? That's awesome. Bobo. I was just curious what it said. So he has to do one space
When I was out there, it was 7 boats downstairs. One of them was close to me, so I just ran to the bathroom.
Yeah, so what would
Like ice.
what do you think would happen if you forgot to deliver ice one day?
I went past. That one,
Who'd you do? Bobo? That's one of his goals too. I don't know if he actually raised the price, or maybe it was just to distract to let me to get in. I think it was that. Who are you doing? I bet with all those animals, they probably have to clean them, huh? He has to make some food, you know, make enough money to get out to the job. And to pay the bills and internet.
normal looking
Yes, sir,
banana,
we can't send the
right?
pet shop animals to get, huh, if you didn't.
Yeah, animals are just
Well, it wasn't once we had the pet shop anymore, right? It was right again?
You gotta pay your bills so that way your animals get enough.
Oh, yeah, the animals do need some air, huh? Don't wanna get too hot. Okay, can you draw me a picture of Mr. Walnut doing one of your things on here?
Oh, I like that you have Bobo's hair the same color as it was in the book. And you teach us to He's productive, huh? He's got a busy day.